Interviewee. For those who don't know, Joe Trippi is the godfather of the 21st century democracy I was just talking about.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. What?
Over here, John.
Okay.
So I first met Joe when he was working on the Howard Dean campaign, which many still credit with being the first eye-opener to the potential of technology to change democracy. And we're going to talk a little bit today about the current state of affairs, but also a little bit about what the future holds. So Joe, if in 2008 social media was the term du jour for presidential politics, what's going to happen in 2012? It seems like Twitter and Facebook and other social media tools are so much more prevalent. What's the term du jour for 2012?
Well, I'm actually going to go in a different direction. I think it's a real threat to everything that's happened over the last since 2003. Look, I mean, first of all, I want to thank Andrew for everything he's been doing to lead on this stuff. A lot of people. During the Dean thing, I got a lot of press and stuff, and but there were a lot of people that were busting their rears and really opening up democracy, and Andrew was one of them. It has been in New York and ever since, and I want to thank him. But one thing about when I watched Andrew's talk about SOPA, excuse me, and PIPA, I wanted to talk for a second about what's happening in this election. What's happening in this election is the response to the Dean campaign and to Obama and to the social network and to millions of people getting involved and working in the streets and giving money was not on the other side, hey, let's go give people the tools to do that, to get engaged and to be active and to contribute ideas, money, energy. It was to say it was super PACs. Okay, now, and I'm not trying to make this is not a partisan thing, and I'll get there in a second. Here's what's happened. Every super PAC, every dollar of every super PAC that's out there that's spending the money that you're seeing, over 75% of that money has come from 46 people. That's the difference. It is SOPA. It is the copyright industry versus people who are trying to keep an open internet. It is a participatory democracy and millions of people actively, and I'm not, one part or the other, but versus 46 guys who are trying to stop it. And that's going to happen with the internet and everything moving forward. I think we're in a colossal fight. It's just amazing to me that this is what it's come to. And then on top of that, and this will make it sure it's not partisan, instead of doubling down on us, the president said, okay, I'll do super PACs too. Everybody, all you rich people, give to super PACs. So now I'm a Democrat and I'm for Obama. I don't mean that, but I'm just saying that's where this thing could go the wrong way really fast.
Well, when you say the wrong way, I mean, you could argue it's the wrong way politically because it's a Republican president versus a Democrat. But what you're talking about is
about
to use the impact of money on politics.
Right.
But we have a Supreme Court that just passed, or approved the Citizens United case. What are the prospects of Congress actually going in and amending the Constitution to prevent corporate donations?
I think we should amend it. I think we should amend the Constitution. I think we should qualify it in the ballot in the states that qualify it, and then push it in every single state assembly and senate, and change the Constitution. Say people are people, corporations are not people.
But what are the prospects of actually changing the Constitution?
We can change it. I mean, we can change. I mean, I think that's by the way we we defend the internet too. The open net is, I think the first thing is to change the Constitution, I mean to amend the Constitution, or make it very clear in the Constitution that people are people, corporations are not people. I mean, figure out what the right language is, but I mean, it's not to wait for to change Supreme Court justices so we can get a better reading on what the Constitution says about that. We should say only people can
okay,
contribute.
so to do that, we're going to need to elect people who believe as you do. And right now, it's not clear that we have enough members of Congress who support your perspective. So if we're going to create a campaign, so here's the question. Can the internet help us build a campaign of awareness so that the American public will engage and actually, in effect, lobby their members of Congress to change the Constitution to get rid of money in politics?
Yeah, I think I mean, I think that's what we all have to do. I mean, that's the thing I think that has to happen. But I also think you can do it at in California, you can qualify an initiative, the constitutional amendment to the U.S. Constitution. We put the wording in. We create a campaign. We create the following to win that campaign. California, and I'm not just in California, but Florida has initiative processes to change the Constitution. So you change. You know, you have to ratify, every state has to do it, but we start, and that will put pressure on Congress to do it. I mean, it might put enough, but it's going to be us. It's not going to, look, the powers that be are not going to change anything. They're going to try to keep holding on to it the way they have, and we're the only people that are going to, the American people are the only people going to save the system for ourselves, for a real vibrant democracy.
So for many years you've postulated on the theory that there's going to be a candidate that could run a $100 campaign, not take more than $100 from any American and run for presidential politics. And now we're seeing social media and technology as a potential vehicle for that.
Right.
But it just hasn't appeared. I mean, obviously it was flawed. It was a flawed strategy with Americans Elect. For those of you who don't know, it was an attempt to try to create a third-party candidate using the internet to nominate somebody. When do you think that there's going to be enough critical mass of connectivity through technology to create a new power center in American politics that will challenge moneyed interests, where networks matter more than money?
I think, unfortunately, it may take both parties continuing to fail us for another cycle or two to wake everybody up to the fact that we have to, and the other problem is there hasn't been a person yet. I mean, I thought, you know, Obama could be that guy. I think if he had said, you know, I won't take over $100 and we're going to change the place in his inaugural, we'd be in a different position today, but he didn't do that. So.
Well, he had a 13 million person list that he had built up during 2008, and he squandered it. To stop talking to the 13 million, basically. When he did start talking to them 6 or 8 months after he was inaugurated, he was only asking them for money. If you were David Plouffe right now, or Axelrod, and if you were able to control the direction of this campaign, what advice would you give Obama now to try to put the we back into his campaign?
I don't think he can do that. Yeah, I think I think it would just look exactly like what you're saying. Like, okay, now he needs us. Now he's gonna, you know, now he's piping up on that. I think the thing I would have done the day I got in, I just said, look, we've just the world is in crisis. All of our institutions need to be reformed and changed, and we need the people of the United States engaged in it. And it's you and me, baby. And we're going to do this together. And if you want to join us, come. And if you don't, and you want to stay in the past and stay part of the system that led to this, then fight us. And then every step of the way, every time the Republicans stood up and obstructed in Congress, it would have been, they're still trying to hold on to the stuff that failed. We're moving forward. Instead, now he's articulating we're moving forward, and Romney wants to go and pass. And and I think, you know, it may be enough, but it's not the way I would have done it.
We don't have a lot of time, but predictions for this year?
It's going to be the closest still. I think there are going to be 4 or 5 Floridas. There'll be, I mean, I'm talking about Florida 2000. We are going to have, it's going to be a very close election, 4 or 5 states. And every single vote in those 4 or 5 states will count. It'll be Ohio, Virginia, Florida, and either Iowa or New Hampshire. I think it'll come, and it'll probably come down to those.
That sounds so dysfunctional, I rest my case.
Yeah.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.